Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this live session. How to build a sales strategy for LinkedIn. It's sweltering here in Plymouth tonight, so I hope you're doing really well. I can see the chat on both screens here, so please do jump in the chat. Let me know where you're joining from. Tell me about what's going on in your world, and I'm going to share with you some of the things that we're doing to help people in a really tough environment. So it doesn't matter whether you're joining from the UK, the US, there is a very tough sales environment right now. Whether you're a solopreneur, an experienced salesperson, you've got 10,000 employees, or it's just you, it is a tough environment. And so what we're going to be talking about is the essentials of why you need a sales strategy for LinkedIn. You can't just wing it anymore. Those days are gone. Hi, Dr. Ordina in Georgia. Hi, Joanne in Venezuela. Hi, Dasha in Illinois. Alicia in Jamaica. I bet it's warmer in Jamaica than it is here in Plymouth, but I'm sweltering. Hi, Sana in Italy. Sean, Ohio. Philip from Cameroon. Awesome. So there's a good crowd of people here today, which is great. Feel free to ask questions in the chat, and we will kickstart. But what I want you to think about is, hi, Esso. Hi, Donald. Great to see you all here, and please do put stuff in the chat. Hi, Henry from the Bay Area, Flavio from Brazil, Mariama from New York, Liliana from Colombia, Alicia. Yes. So look, the reality is wherever you are in the world right now, there is a feeling of pain on businesses and on salespeople. Why is that? Well, we've had the dreaded thing that cannot be named on YouTube because you get your videos restricted. We've had economic turmoil, we've got wars going on, and so we're in a phase where there's so much uncertainty, it's actually making it harder for people to make decisions. So I don't know how many people are feeling brave, but how many people have had a situation where a prospect has been red hot, ready to buy, and suddenly they get nervous and decide to do nothing? Anybody want to feel brave and admit that's happened? Yeah? Please do. If you've had that scenario, say yep in the chat, or me too. The reason that's happening is the economic uncertainty. And right now, we are literally halfway through 2023. Yeah, Marcelo has had that scenario. Yeah. We are halfway through 2023. The good news is there is 6 months of the year left to really make it fly. But we have to deliberately choose what we're going to be doing to actually make that difference. Yeah, I can see a lot of people are having that. It's a nervousness caused by uncertainty. Uncertainty about the economy, uncertainty about the future. This is one of the long-term effects, I feel, of what's happened, and I can't say it because of YouTube, of all of the uncertainty has suddenly become, for some people, not everybody, but it's become overwhelming. And so what happens is you see that more and more people, and we do this in our own lives, we actually decide to do nothing. That's a decision. Nothing is a decision. And tonight I'm hoping to encourage you, excite you, and get you interested in going, I'm going to make a decision to have a plan and work that plan consistently. And so this nature of uncertainty that we're living in allows us or helps us to do nothing. And nothing is a decision. And unfortunately, the world keeps moving whether we make a decision or not. So why do you need a strategy for LinkedIn? Well, I want to talk a little bit more specific about LinkedIn and how LinkedIn's changed, and then I want to show you my 6-figure planner, which I'll give you a copy. You can have a copy, it's free. But I want to talk to you about why the importance of having a strategy for LinkedIn, how LinkedIn's changed, and I don't mean just gadgets and tricks and stuff like that. I mean how the platform is changing and how you need to adapt if you really want to do well in the rest of 2023, the next 6 months of 2023. So first thing is, how has LinkedIn changed? Now, of course, LinkedIn has seen a ton of new features. It's got new creator mode, it's got newsletter features, it's got new profiles, it's got new user interface. All of those changes are interesting and great. Contributor articles, they are all present. All of the platform-centric changes. But I want to show you how people have changed, so that when we build our sales strategy, we really understand, and I'm going to break it down and show you on screen shortly, we can understand how it can change us and how our strategy can make a difference for our business. So, hi Brett, welcome. Who else has joined? There's a few people there. Bert. Yes, Bert, I am in Plymouth, United Kingdom though. Plymouth, United Kingdom. Hi Keith, Sales Marvel. Welcome there. So, how has LinkedIn changed? Well, I've been on LinkedIn a long time. So since the very, very beginnings, I think I've been on LinkedIn nearly since it started, maybe the year after it started. And of course it was a CV site. Then it became a little bit like a blogging platform and a job site. And now it's a fully fledged social media platform with a ton of features and clever stuff. But that interesting thing that happened to the whole world in 2020, I can't say it, YouTube will restrict the video if I do. That interesting thing that happened to us in 2020, 2021, and really we only kind of emerged from properly in 2022, forced hundreds of millions of people to go onto LinkedIn. So before the pandemic, about a year before the pandemic, LinkedIn was bouncing around 600 million, maybe 700 million users. Today, there is 940 million users on the platform. 940 million. So somewhere around almost 250 million people almost have joined the platform. So that's an exciting opportunity. The fact that we can reach more people, and me in the UK right now, here in the UK, this is incredible for me because 35 million people are on the platform in the UK, which is almost the entire working population of the country is on LinkedIn. So it's massive opportunity here in the UK, and other countries, France, Germany, India, United Kingdom, Canada, even the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, it's growing everywhere. So how is this this change is great, but along with that big opportunity, it's also brought opportunists. People who want to make as much money as possible from the platform with the least amount of effort. So we've seen the rise of aggressive messaging. We've seen, hi Rebecca Williams, medical devices, massively growing area on LinkedIn. So we've got more people on the platform and more people wanting to sell to people on the platform and do it in the easiest possible way. So what does that mean and why does that matter for us? Because if I rewind to 2018 and I sent 100 messages to prospects, I'd get about a 25% response rate, 25%. But now, here we are in 2023, where we're all being hit up every day on LinkedIn, on email, on phone, on WhatsApp. And suddenly the effect of that messaging is weaker. The results are harder to get. And we're seeing an influx of people who used to sell on Facebook, who have found it really hard this last 2 years, coming to LinkedIn to try and sell there too. So it makes it a more difficult environment. But don't get depressed, because I'm going to share some good stuff with you that will actually help you. And I'm going to walk you through a plan that you can follow. Now, so there's a load of rubbish. Yes, Marcello, yes, tons of people coming onto the platform. Not just people claiming to be experts, but people doing low status behavior stuff. Posting videos every day that are just, a tortoise climbing a mountain. There's a bit of that's all right, but if you go too far with it, it becomes like it waters down the potency of the platform. and we've got aggressive messaging. So we've got all of that going on. So big opportunity, LinkedIn's become a bigger opportunity, but actually some of its features have been weakened by the rubbish that some people are doing. So if we want to do well on the platform, we have to raise our game. The days of sending copy and paste template messages, the days of just firing out loads and loads of messages are done. And now we have to have a strategy on the platform. I say this all the time. Getting a client from LinkedIn is relatively easy. Getting consistent clients from LinkedIn is hard, and that's where the strategy really comes in. So I'm going to walk you through we call it the 6-figure planner, which is an action sheet of the things you should be doing to drive results on the platform. And before I kind of dig into it, what I'm going to say is I'm going to lay out some principles. Number one, principle number one, and I've not got any slides for this, so you need to note this down. Principle number one, it takes on average 8 touch points with a prospect for them to agree to having a meeting or a conversation with you. 8 touch points. If you try and circumvent that, all the data says 8 touch points. So if you're trying to book a trend and trying to do things better than the vast majority of people, good luck. And if your plan is to try and book the trend, awesome. But understand that trend includes high performers and low performers. 8 touch points. Number 2, when a prospect sees you've made an effort, they will give you more time and a chance. So if they can see you've made an effort, they will give you more of a chance. What does that mean by making an effort? It means you've either done your homework and it shows, or you've invested in some form of relationship building over a period. I was contributing to an article on LinkedIn 2 days ago, and I made this really important point. And it was about cold email and about how the subject line is pretty much key to success in cold email. But then I argued something else, and I said, I agree that that's the case, but I would argue that the from name is more valuable than the subject line. The from name is more valuable than the subject line. And people said, what do I mean? I said, well, if your name is familiar to your prospect and they scan through their emails, they will open that message because of your name, not the subject line. And somebody said, I'd never thought of it like that before. So when I talk about investing in relationship on LinkedIn, I don't mean asking them how was their day and do they want to buy your stuff. I mean building relationships over a concerted period of time. The more high value your client or prospect is, the more investment you need to make. So principle number 1, 8 touch points. Principle number 2, it's either you've invested in them and it shows. So either by doing your homework, you're researched, or you've invested in building a relationship over a period. You cannot escape those two. There is no way around one of those two. Either well researched or invested in relationship. So if we're looking to do that, we have to understand those principles. We can't escape them. And if we want to try and beat those principles, we have to be in the top 1% of 1% of 1%, the best possible performers. And that's like saying, I'm going to buy the winning lottery ticket, right? So those principles are there because they work out, they perform. So 8 touch points, research or relationship, and let the prospect see that you've made the effort. So how do we build a strategy around those two things? Well, the first thing is, and I'll come to the planner in a second, just so you say here, the planner's on screen. Maybe we can put it on screen quickly the planner's on screen. If you want a copy of the planner, I'm going to try and run through it as quickly as I can in tonight's session. But if you want a copy of the planner, just drop us an email, hi@maverick.io, and we'll email you a copy of the planner. So it's our 6-figure planner. Drop us an email and we will send you a copy of it. It'll be tomorrow now, just because it's quite late in the UK. So send me an email, hi@maverick.io, and say, can I have a copy of the 6-figure planner? And we will send it to you. Just as a little promo, we do have next week a Sales Navigator workshop where we'll be teaching you how to implement a lot of the actions on this planner. So if you want to come and join me on that, it's 2.5 hours, I think it is, or a 90-minute workshop. And I'll basically break down the social selling part of the planner inside that workshop and show you how you use Sales Navigator to do it. So that's on the 6th of July. Email us if you want a copy of the planner, hi@maverick.io. And if you want to know about the Sales Nav workshop, just bob that in the email as well and we'll get the details to you. Right, so if we look, yes, Mary, we'll put the email in the comments on both YouTube and LinkedIn. If you're watching anywhere else, it's on screen, hi@maverick.io. So on the little ticker thing at the bottom, the news ticker thing, our email address should be there. Right, so the planner, right? Remember this 8 touch points thing. It's going to be very important, this 8 touch points. I know I kind of briefly mentioned it. It's very, very important. So when I'm looking at the planner here, I'll just move my little thing into the middle a little bit. When I'm looking at the planner here, and hopefully you can see it, I've broke down all of the things that you need to do. Now, will you need to do every one of these things? No. Now, the first thing on this thing is content. Now, you've probably seen, if you're following me on LinkedIn, you'll have seen me talk about content is not the be-all and end-all of LinkedIn. If you are banking on content to win you business, you are again trying to buy a winning lottery ticket. Algorithms change and you cannot predict who, how, and when your posts are going to be seen, and you cannot predict the results that they're going to get. So when I'm looking here at content, the content's purpose, first purpose, is to create a little bit of curiosity, educate and inform. That's the primary purpose of content, to help people get to know you, learn a bit more about you, learn about what you offer in a light way. So that's what the content's done, and it's broken down into 3 types of content. Content piece number 1 is attract content. That gets you the attention. Content piece number 2 is nurture. That adds value to your audience, your connections. Content number 3 is convert. That's where you get the benefit from it. And you'll see on the planner, I've created a tick box with days that you should do which posts. 1 post is convert, 2 posts are nurture, and 2 posts are attract, because that's what you need to get the attention, keep the attention, and keep the people nurtured. Then we have quick win campaigns. Now, in our accelerator, we actually teach people how to do these on a weekly basis and pull out sales calls every single week. And a quick win campaign, and you've probably seen me talk about this before, is what we call a loaded poll. It's a poll where you ask your audience, your connections, about key issues that they're looking to resolve, to conquer, to overcome, to develop, goals they want to achieve. And you ask them in a very low-key way. And your audience, your connections, because you've been doing the attract content, because you've been doing the nurture content, they engage with your loaded poll and respond, and it gives you an opportunity to start a conversation. And you can pick up and generate conversations and move them into calls on a week-by-week basis. Now, that's not going to be your long-term strategy. That's why we call it quick win campaigns. You can drop out some opportunities from 1 poll on 1 day. But the setup of your profile, the setup of your content before that makes the difference so that people actually see it. So you need to invest in the content first to help people see it. Then the loaded poll is where you can drop people down. So that's the quick win campaigns, and we encourage people to do one every single week. and book the calls off it. Then obviously the next thing we want to do is be filling our profile with prospects, connecting, not to pitch, but to fill them up so they see the content, they start to be aware of who we are, so that in the future down the line, they're ready for us to talk to. Everybody still with me? I've not put you all to sleep yet, right? Everybody's still alive. So connecting. This is so funny because when I go on calls, when somebody signs up to our accelerator program, they'll come on a call with me, and one of the first things I'll ask is, how many people are in your network that actually could be prospects? And people say, oh, 10%, 15%, 25%. Then we go into Sales Navigator and have a look. And when we drill it down, often it's very much smaller than the people we actually, or the amount we thought. So, number one, you want to be growing your network 20 connections every day. They're either prospects or they work with and around prospects. They're influencers to the prospects, and you should be doing that every single day without fail. 20 every single day, no fail. And this is why you need a strategy and a plan, because very often what happens is we go to LinkedIn and we think, oh, let's drum up some business, and we knock it out of the park on one day, and then we don't check back in for 2 weeks or 1 week or a day, and we miss opportunities. So every single day, connecting 20 people, 20 people, 20 people, 20 people, 20 people. I do this. 20 people, 20 people, 20 people, but the right people. They're either prospects potentially, or they work with and around their influencers in the prospects business. 20 people every single day. Do not fail. When they accept, send a thank you. No pressure, no big heavy pitch. Just send a thank you. And some people will say, thanks, Dean. And you can have a conversation. You don't need to sell, just have a conversation. Yeah? Dead simple. Now the next bit is where it gets more complicated. This is the bit that makes or breaks your strategy. We've got them connected. We've had a little bit of engagement. We're sharing our content in front of them. We're doing our quick win campaigns. How do we build that pipeline of future revenue, future opportunity, and how do we do it in a way that consistently performs? Brett's asked a good question. The connection limit is 100 per week, but we tell people to do 20 per day, 5 days a week. Don't try and do 100 in one go. It can damage your account and get you in trouble. So now we have to engage them and build that pipeline, because not everybody's going to be in buying mode right now. So we need to have people who know what we do without pitching them. So we have to create a momentum. We call it the LinkedIn flywheel. In fact, I did a training session on the LinkedIn flywheel 2 weeks ago. If you want a copy of that, again, it's free. You can email us hi@maverick.io. I'll send you the planner, but I'll also send you the training from a couple of weeks ago. Brett asks a very good question. Very, very good question. And I'm gonna answer that in a second. So we've got 3 ways to engage the prospects. 3 ways. And Brett has indicated, how do you keep track of all these people? How do you keep tabs on them? Well, it depends on what your strategy is next. So I'm going to go to the bottom of this document first. Just have to find my mouse. Right, and I'm going to talk about social selling. Yeah, social selling. Now, this is where Sales Navigator can become quite useful, because you can track your prospects inside Sales Navigator, and it will give you a handy list and all of their latest actions. Let me just move this down a little bit more. I've lost my mouse. There we go. Yeah, I'll leave it there because that's where all my bits and bobs are. So it really depends on how we're going to engage them. But Sales Navigator in social selling terms, social selling, actually Sales Navigator helps you because you can add notes against people. You can create one list and you can add notes and dates and keep tabs. So Brett, first one, Sales Navigator. Marcello, if you need to learn how to use Sales Navigator, come and join me on the 6th of July in our workshop. I'll teach you. It's on Zoom, so it's interactive. It's not on YouTube or LinkedIn. It's on Zoom, so we do it together. You can ask questions. We can do share screens, the works. So what we want to do is engage those prospects. Remember the 8, the magic 8, right? So if we start with the 8 and just work it out, if we send a thank you message and they respond, there's one down. If they see a couple of our posts, there's a couple more down. If we then start to engage with relevant messaging, there's a couple more down. And when I mean relevant, I don't go, hey, I do this. Is this a matter to you? I mean, take the time to understand their business, understand who they are, what their role is, what their challenges are, what's keeping them up at night, and ask questions. That can take up a few of those interactions. So when you think about 8, it sounds like a lot. What am I going to do with 8? The connection can be 1 if you do it right. How you post can be another if you do it right. How you then engage them in discussions about relevant things can be more. And then you come to outreach on the 8th or 7th or 8th touch point. It actually is more effective. So Brett's question of how do we track it? Save your leads in Sales Navigator and use the notes. Very, very simple. Save the leads, use the notes. Save the leads, use the notes. And then move them through that process of engaging, and you can make a list of how many touch points you've done. How many touch points? So when you get to like 7 or 8, now's the time to ask the conversation. Dasha, Sales Navigator is an extension of LinkedIn specifically for salespeople. Elmira, yes, if you drop us an email, hi@maverick.io, should be on screen somewhere. We'll send you a copy of the 6-figure planner. We'll send you a copy of the the LinkedIn flywheel training and the 6-figure planner if you want it. So social selling is about following a series of actions that's relevant, engaging the prospect till you've reached that point where you make the outreach on touch point 7 or 8, basically. Now, the other 2 here, lead magnets and webinars, and I spoke about this last week on the webinar. This webinar is an example of how to do it. So we haven't got a ton of people we signed on all platforms, but we've got roughly about 30% of the signups will show up and watch this either live or just after live. So of the 600-700 people who've registered, we've data captured, number 1. Number 2, the 600-700 people, 30% roughly will watch me and they get the education. And the other 2/3 will get the follow-ups, the replays, things like that, and get invited to other stuff. And this is a real good model, a flywheel model of building a business on the back of an email list. So when you do a webinar, you'll get some people who are interested and go, Dean, I want to talk. I want to know about your Sales Nav workshop. I want to know about your 6-figure accelerator where you work one-to-one with me. I want to know all this stuff. And then we'll get some initial inquiries. But actually what we're doing is we're giving value to the network. Some people will sit in our email list and get more value, and never be a customer, and that's fine. But some people will sit and go, I'm not ready yet. I'm not in that place where I need them yet. But we'll be in the right place for the right time. And again, this is about future-proofing your business by not thinking about now, but about investing in other people. And a lot of people don't get this because we're so eager for our result that sometimes we just think about our result, and that trips us up. Because I've been doing these webinars for like 3 years. 3 years, and we do them every week. Yeah, sometimes we'll take little breaks, but we do them every week. And we invest in people. And the belief is, and it's paid off so far, if we invest in people, some will see that they need us, buyers. Some will see that our advice is useful, tryers. And a percentage of those will actually come back and ask for our help because they'll struggle. And then you've got the DIYers, and they're the people who go, this is great, I'm going to do it myself, Dean. Our only expectation from the people who go, Dean, I'm going to do it myself, is likes, comments, follows, reviews, reposts. And so the webinar model is about engaging those 3 groups of people so that the buyers go, wow, that was great. I need to work with these guys. The triers go, wow, that was great. I'm going to have a go at this myself, and that some come back and ask for our help. And the DIYers become the loyal people who will follow you on LinkedIn, support your posts, comment, tell other people, refer you to other people. That's the model of webinars. But what we see from other platforms is people won't invest in people like that. They put you into an automated webinar, they put you on, and they put you through their sales pitch and don't give you any value. So if you want to do webinars, it might seem like easy to go, do you know what, I'll just record it and distribute it. Go live. Do it live. Overcome that fear and do it, and invest in your audience. You will build a great following. You will build trust and authority. You will build a pipeline, and you will build your email list. And the email list is where the long-term value is. When you build an email list, your business is algorithm proof. So instead of you stressing about, oh, my post only got 200 impressions today, oh, what am I going to do? Instead of thinking about how do I beat the algorithm, how do I conquer the algorithm, and all those things are nice, but your business, your financial success should not be based on whether you can beat an algorithm by a tech platform in California. It should be based on, am I building trust with the right people? And so that's where the webinar piece becomes powerful, because you're building the trust and you're using the platform LinkedIn, but you're actually building off the platform. And that's, hopefully you get that, right? Because it's massive when you really realize, oh, I'm building something that's beyond LinkedIn. LinkedIn is building a pipeline. LinkedIn's building something that protects me from algorithms. So that's really important. Now, when we come to lead magnets, and I'm going to tell you the comparisons of success between them all. Lead magnets are highly successful if they're really dialed in. You have to really know your audience and really know what their pain points and their goals are in real good, like you've got to hit the nail on the head if you want the right people to download. And of course you follow up the downloads. There's a bit of investment in terms of building a lead magnet, you know, the landing page and all that stuff. But again, you capture the email and you follow up and they go into your email list. Now, in terms of volume, the principles of a lead magnet and the principles of a webinar are the same, but the experience is different. The experience is different. So what do I mean by that? Some of you watching this webinar now will go, I kind of like the way this Dean guy does his thing. I kind of like it. And so the webinar piece acts as a filtering mechanism too for the people who go, do you know what, I'm not sure I'm keen on him, because we've missed something. In most cases, it's not just about whether our prospects believe we can do a certain job or provide a certain service. It's whether they connect with you. So a webinar is quite powerful because it helps you connect with people. It helps you connect. And so it acts as a filtering mechanism. Now, a lead magnet doesn't have that because it's reliant on, unless you do a video lead magnet, it's reliant on the consumption of the information to evidence I must talk to this person. So in other words, the lead magnet or the video that you put as the lead magnet has to be even more compelling. Because on a webinar live, you're getting to meet me. There's no hiding, there's no rehearsing. This is me. And I look in the chat here and I can see what people are saying and I can interact with what people are saying. Yeah? So it's the live thing connects you with me. The lead magnet connects you with my knowledge and my insight, but less of my personality is involved because, well, at least for me, when I try and record a video training, when I try and record versus now, hopefully I come across now as like having more of a conversation with you. But for some reason when we record, hello everybody, welcome to this, and we become more stiff and a bit more rigid. So when I'm doing lives, I'm a bit more fluid, a bit more relaxed, but when I'm doing recorded, I become a bit more tense and a bit more stiff and a bit more formal. So it comes down to how you performed in that moment, whereas in a live, it's a bit more free-flowing, it's a bit more relaxed. I know that sounds really strange, but it's actually better in many cases to be relaxed. So lead magnets are effective, they're highly effective, but again, they're building the email list. Now, here's the weird bit. Here's the really, really weird bit, right? In terms of conversion, let's just think about those three. In terms of conversion, social selling, in other words, one-to-one engagement with prospects, 8 touch points, all of that stuff, that has the highest conversion rate of any activity. Highest conversion rate. Highest, absolute highest. Which is obvious because you're one-to-one, you're investing time in an individual. So, but it has a significant time impact on you. You've got to have a lot of time commitment. Lead magnets are the second best converting, but the volume is lower. So social selling has the highest conversion, the lowest volume, because you can only do so many at once. Lead magnets has higher volume than social selling, but a slightly lower conversion. And webinars has the highest volume, but the lowest conversion. So for an example, I can do a webinar like this and get 600-700 people. Sometimes we'll get into the 2,000-3,000 people, depending on the topic. And I will make 20 sales out of a webinar like this, something like that, 20 sales at various different times, not all overnight, because we're not into that kind of high pressure, get people to make a quick decision and, in the hype. But over time, follow-ups and all that kind of stuff, we'll make about 20 sales. On a lead magnet, it might take me 2-3 weeks of lead magnet downloads to make 20 sales. And on social selling, it might take me a month to 2 months to make 20 sales. Of course, the higher volume the sale, the more it warrants being individually invested in a prospect. But what you would want to focus on is thinking about which one fits both my prospects, me, and my time. Because you can build the most amazing strategy, but if you have no time to deliver it, it will just be a plan on a spreadsheet or a plan on paper that's never implemented. So what time can you realistically give to your strategy, to implementing your strategy on LinkedIn? And I'll give you an indication of what this looks like. And it's based off our social selling team and our 6-figure accelerator that we run. Social selling will take you 45 minutes a day. 45 minutes a day. Lead magnet, there'll be an upfront time in building the lead magnet, which might be, it won't be a month of solid, but it might take you a month to put something together that's right. You build the system and then you can rinse it for 3 months, and it might take you 2 hours a week. 2 hours a week to get the leads that you need to make sales. The follow-up, of course, of all of these is going to be similar. The webinar might be 2 hours a month, plus the follow-up, following up and doing all that stuff. You can automate some of the follow-up with, your email marketing system and all that kind of stuff. So look at the difference in time. What can you willingly do? What's a good fit for your prospects? So I'll give you a tip. If you're targeting CEOs of stock market listed companies, they're not going to go on a webinar. That's just the reality. Generally speaking, CEOs of stock market and large enterprises are not going to go on webinars. They might download a lead magnet, and they definitely engage in social selling. But they're going to engage at different times than a small business owner. So Warisha, it's always better to reveal your live sessions at least 2 to 3 days to get more effective leads. I would argue not. I've got bigger attendances from running them further out. So I would think about who's my prospects, what's the best path for them, and what's the time constraints I have. They are the 3 keys to having an effective strategy. And then, of course, the principles, 8 touch points, and what was the last one? What was the last one? You have to be seen to have put the investment in. You have to have made some effort, and the prospect has to see it. So that's either relevance or relationship. 8 touch points, relevance or relationship, show you've invested time. Tip, we can tell when we automate messages. People can tell. They can tell. We don't write the same way. We don't write the same way. We can tell. So those are the keys, and the planner gives you actions of what you need to do, when, how, and like I said, the social selling piece, I'm doing a workshop next week on Sales Navigator you can join. And we'll go through, okay, I'm starting with a brand new prospect. They don't know who I am. What do I do? What's step 1? What's step 2? What's step 3? What's step 4? And how do I get them booked onto a call with me? We go through that whole process on the 6th of July. So it's really important that you have the plan. Cannot emphasize enough. There's 6 months left of 2023. And if you want to get the most from it, you have to have a plan for it. If you continually make it up as you go along, I'm not saying you're doing that, but some do, or you do shiny object syndrome. Anybody know what shiny object syndrome is? I'm not expecting you to answer because there's probably a delay on the live. Shiny object syndrome is where you go, oh, look what they're doing, I should do that. And then you start doing that, and then you go, oh, look what they're doing, I should do that. Oh, well, do not get shiny object syndrome. You need to work one system consistently, make it work, make it deliver, make it perform, refine, rinse and repeat. Refine, rinse and repeat. If you keep chopping and changing your plan and your strategy, guess what? You will not make an impact. Nothing will work for you. I'm just being straight. Nothing will work if you keep changing it. You have to decide on a path, follow it, and then improve it. And if you can't do that, you are going to struggle to be successful, not just on LinkedIn, anywhere. Anywhere, because you will always be looking for the easy wins. And whilst there is a quick win campaign inside the planner that you can use, loaded polls, they will only get you so far. They will get you some opportunities, but not the pipeline that you want long term. That's not going to be. Yeah. So, Derek, yes, I will share the recording, but if you want a copy of the planner, hopefully my email should be on screen here somewhere, hi@maverick.io. And if you want a copy of the planner, or you want the details of the Sales Navigator workshop, that is, you can ask us for those details and we'll send them to you. So the planner you can have, and if you want to go on the workshop, we'll send you the details, times, all the logistics of it as well. So I just want to kind of emphasize, it is a tough old time, right? And that calls, whether you're a salesperson or solopreneur or CEO, that calls for us to step up and make the choice to do things to not be pulled down with all the other stuff that's going on, to actually invest the time in building the pipeline now. Yeah, so many times I've said this to people, what you do now pays off in 3 months. Yeah, if you have that as a general rule, what the work that you're doing right now will pay off in 3 months. If you have that as a general rule in your life and in your business, you will appreciate that actually most of the things that you're doing are not going to have an immediate return. The problem is sometimes we do things that we can get an immediate return. It's harder to replicate that immediate return. So it's easy to do it once, but doing some of these things that actually have immediate results twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times gets more and more difficult. So that's why I'm saying you need a strategy for the long term. Yes, use quick win campaigns. We've got a great one, loaded polls, really easy to do. They work on Instagram, they work on Facebook, they work on LinkedIn. Anywhere where there's a polling, you can use them. They are great for getting your quick wins, but long term, you need either an email list or you need a pipeline of built relationships, and you have to invest the time. There's no way of getting around it. You can try ads, but it's an awful expensive exercise, very expensive exercise, and budgets are tight right now. Any other questions for today? Like I said, if you want a copy of the planner, send us an email, hi@maverick.io. It should be on the screen somewhere. email us. We'll send you a copy of it. You can have it in your inbox tomorrow because the team's finished here in the UK for the day. You can have it for tomorrow and you can start pulling apart and going, what is my plan? What is my plan? And some of you might go, do you know what? I want Maverick to help me with my plan. I want Maverick to help me build it, implement it, and get it done. And that's cool if you do. Any other questions? Going once. Thank you, Dr. Ordina. I'm just here, and my business belief is I'll give value, I'll tell you what you need to hear. Not what you want to hear, I'll tell you what you need to hear. I'll give as much as I can in the aim that the people who don't need me, don't need our expertise, will go and tell other people and refer us and do all that kind of social media goodwill stuff. The triers will have a go and know where to come back to. And the buyers will go, do you know what? I don't want to waste any time doing this. I want to make it happen. I want to get a result. I want to get the experts involved, and they'll jump in. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Keith. I've been off LinkedIn for 2 days. I had a lot going on. I've been traveling. I wasn't so well. My son's not been so well. So if you've been wondering where I am, I've not disappeared off the face of the earth. I've had a couple of days where it's crazy. But I'll be back on LinkedIn tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate every single one of you showing up and giving your time to me. Get that email in, get the planner, and hopefully I'll see you on the Sales Nav workshop next week. But thank you for joining me, and I'll be back next week with another webinar for you. So if not, I'll see you then.
Dean's strategy helped me find clients. I created clients for my business with this program. It works.
My connections have grown, my reach has grown, my views have grown, and actually so has my business revenue. Over that 3-month period, I have actually signed up 3 new clients at a cost of £50,000. That's over just the 3-month period. So it's worth it.
Every single time there's a session, I just feel like it's just a golden moment. Every single session brings me something really new and really valuable, and I've started to attract high value client sales, which is wonderful, and it's really given our business a boost.
Dean Seddon and the Maverick team, what can I say? Apart from absolutely awesome.
The results have been amazing. We have had loads of incoming leads coming into our lead funnels and workflow processes on our website. And we've also built a really successful community around the content that we produce and push out into our LinkedIn channels. My team has also learned a lot from working with the team at Maverick, and they've also helped us really create fantastic events on LinkedIn.
I'm much more confident, and all of that, without a shadow of doubt, is down to the work and the training and support I've had from Dean and the rest of his team as part of the Accelerator course.
In terms of the training, Maverick have been absolutely fantastic. They've been so supportive. They've talked me through all the stages of what you have to do, why you have to do it, the benefits of doing it the way they tell us to do it. And I've gone from being with no social media to being actually addicted, because I can see what this can do for lead generation, generating new business. It's just been incredible, and Maverick have been superb throughout the whole process.
The guys at Maverick, they've been great. Dean and his team, very knowledgeable, wealth of experience, and we've had quite a few one-to-ones now that really taught us the depths, the nooks and crannies of LinkedIn, which none of us would have known before, and I think we can continue to use that going forward, and it's been great so far, and I hope to continue to use it as well.